Welcome to Season 5 of Own Your Divine Light Show. I am your host, Yarra Atlantica Miller, also known as Janet Miller. The theme of this show is the Divine Human Rising, recovering our sacred truth. This show is an exploration of the secret truths that have been concealed from us. We are letting go of this old system that no longer works and has held us back from becoming the divine humans we are meant to be. Today, we are having the mystical archivist and curator of sacred truths, is what I'm calling Kimberly Palm, who will be sharing her divine truth with us so that together we can achieve the divine human rising. Welcome, Kimberly. So happy to have you.
Thank you. Thank you. I really appreciate. Do you want me to call you by your soul name
Yara's
or by
fine.
your?
Yara's
Okay, because I
Yep.
usually refer to you by your real name. Your name,
one.
your given name,
It's
but
whatever
yeah.
you're guided. It doesn't matter to me.
I just want to make sure I respect you for what you
I
wish.
appreciate that. I do.
So
Thank you for
yes,
asking. So whatever you feel comfortable with, that's how
I like Yarra because I think it's gorgeous. So
I like that name. I really do. Thank you. So I'm going to tell the people a little more about you, Kimberly. And so Kimberly Palm is a spiritual teacher and advisor to seekers of truth on their journey. So what a perfect person to have on today. Kimberly is also the author of the Amazon best-selling books Ascension 101, which I have right here, and I hope you can see it well. And it's a fabulous book that I've just started reading. And it's called The Roadmap for Your Soul. And then she also wrote The Real Fountain of Youth, an introduction to the peace stress management system, which really sounds amazing. And I have a ladybug crawling on my screen, which is, I love ladybugs. So that's very
good
cool.
luck.
I know. So thank you, ladybug. She's just sitting on top of my computer now. And then she also, I know you also wrote your other piece, which it's not in there, but I'm going to show, I did a quick, it's a PDF. It's the Walking with Yeshua and Mary Magdalene piece. And she might tell you about that during the show. So Kimberly also has been spiritually mentoring people since she was a teenager. And because of her special intuitive and psychic abilities, she has studied metaphysics, spiritual esoterics, world religion, energy healing, holistic health, and for most of her life. She uses her knowledge and experience as well as her special gifts to guide people on their spiritual journey. Kimberly enjoys teaching people how to be their own guru, and I love that. Use their own inner compass, find their own truth, and she loves answering her clients' esoteric and spiritual questions. You can find out more about Kimberly and her classes, her books, her private sessions on her website, spiritualgrowthjourneys.com. So Kimberly, thank you so much for being here. I'm really happy you're here today. And you have an amazing connection with Yeshua, and that's kind of an understatement, I would say.
Yeah.
You know, when did you first realize that Yeshua was speaking to you?
Well, actually, his mother started speaking to me first.
So
and I was like 4 years old. I was about 4 years old. Yeah.
So what did she say? Like, what was her introduction to you?
It was basically that everything that the world is showing me and my parents are teaching me and all the stuff that I'm learning was all lies, like all the religious stuff I was being indoctrinated into, that it was all lies, and that I needed to kind of focus on her and her, message and the message of her son and, that kind of thing. But yeah, it was pretty much
4 years old. How did you?
I was 4 years old, and she was telling me that everything that I was about to like embark on in my life and learn and all that was not what I thought it was. And that there's a lot of the biggest message I got was the supernatural message and what we call the really mysterious kind of the mysteries, that there's all of these mystical, magical things that happen on this earth. And, they don't teach them to you in school. They don't teach you any of that. They don't teach you, your parents don't teach it to you. My parents certainly didn't teach me about any of that. And yeah. And so that was kind of what she was more working with me on, was more of the embracing the magical mysteries of the creator of God, like the term God works in mysterious ways. It's so true. And just embracing that magical, mystical, paranormal kind of, stuff that goes on that they don't talk about.
So did she do any magical, mystical things with you as a 4-year-old or as a young?
No, it was just more just letting me know she was always with me. She was just always letting me know she was with me. It was really more, I wasn't really having intellectual conversations with her until with any of them until I was much older. And then I started having conversations with him, shortly after. And then in the last, I want to say 15 years or so, I connected with Miriam of Magdala, Mary Magdalene, whatever you want to call her. Her real name is Miriam. That was her real name was Miriam, but connected with her, and just kind of been chatting with the three of them. But Mother Mary actually kind of, I don't want to say she dropped me like a hot potato, but let's just say she had other things. She had other things she had to do. And then I kind of, was kind of taken over my mentorship by Yeshua and his twin flame, Miriam. They kind of took over mentoring me as the way to explain it. They've been like mentoring me and helping me and guiding me and they're my main spirit guides, basically. I've got 7 spirit guides, but they're like my main, or actually I had 12 spirit guides for, a while. I don't know if I still do, but there was a while where I had 12 of them, but they're the 2 main ones that work with me.
So what exactly were they mentoring you on? Do you have something specific they were?
Oh yeah, everything. Telling me what I'm here for, my purpose. I mean, I was told that I'm here to continue their teachings. I was given marching orders. I call it marching orders. They've been giving me specific things to do since day one. This is what you're going to do now. This is what you're going to do next. This is what and constantly giving me.
It was very structured.
Oh, very structured. Great. Yeah.
That's great because it's nice to have that structure.
Especially I need it. I have ADD, so I need structure. I have horrible ADD, so I have
I understand structure. That. I'm always on the cusp. I'm on the cusp. My family is, and so I'm always been a compartmentalizer. So that's how I work. But that's so interesting. So I know you were asked by Yeshua to write a book about Ascension, and that's where your Ascension 101 came out. So tell us what about Ascension and why do you think it's happening?
So what happened is Atlantis and Lemuria. Lemuria existed in the Pacific Ocean, and it went from the coast of California and Mexico and Oregon all the way down to what we call Australia, all the way down into New Zealand and Australia. And it was a whole massive, area. And that was Lemuria. Okay. That was Lemuria. And actually the native Hawaiian people know that that's like the main center of Lemuria. The center of Lemuria was where the Hawaiian Islands are. Okay. That was the center of Lemuria. It existed at the same time as Atlantis. Now, Atlantis was in the Atlantic Ocean, and it went from the coast of Florida and the east coast of the U.S. all the way over and through the Caribbean and all the way over to Greece. And it ended around Turkey area, kind of. It went all the way into Greece and Turkey. That was all part of Atlantis. And so what happened is there was a major cataclysm, and the cataclysm was what was it, Tiamat or what? I can't remember the whole, I don't know all the galactic like information, but what I know is that we had
I know what you're talking about. Yes. Maldek, Maldek I guess is a leader, but Tiamat blew up. Is that what you're talking about?
Yeah, they blew up something, and it basically caused the poles to completely go whoop and flip on their side, and it inundated the planet. But but before they did that, a guy named Lucifer, who's also known as Inky, showed up on this planet, and with his brother, what's his brother's name? I can't remember. Oh, Enlil. Yeah. Enlil is Zeus. Enlil is Zeus, and Inky is Poseidon, or also known as Lucifer. They showed up on the planet. They are kind of like scientists. They're like ancient extraterrestrial scientists that like to screw with our DNA. So they showed up, and they started doing experimenting on people, and they started the downgrade of civilization from what we call the Garden of Eden. So the whole thing in the Bible about the Garden of Eden is actually symbolic. It didn't actually happen. There wasn't a person named Adam and a person named Eve. I talk about that in my new book. It's all symbolic of stuff that was going on, and it represents the way the DNA was changed. But they basically there were humanoids that were here on Earth, living with extraterrestrials all living in peace. They all lived in peace. You know, there were giants, there were all kinds of beings, fairies, you know, elves, all kinds of things living in peace on this earth, and also in Agartha, which is in center earth.
Yep.
They were all living here in peace together, and the whole earth was the Garden of Eden. The entire earth was the Garden of Eden. And these dudes showed up with all their minions. They brought all their minions with them, and they caused the fall of society. They caused Atlantis to fall, Lemuria to fall, and then their final pièce de résistance, as we say in French, was blowing up that thing and flipping the poles, because their goal was to wipe out all the humans, you know, and then start over, because they wanted to start over with the slave race. So what did they do? They took what was left of humanity. They edited the DNA. We used to be crystalline bodies, 12-strand or higher DNA, and we live darn near forever. We would live 1,000 years. We'd never get sick. There was no such thing as death and burying your loved one. You would have a party and a celebration for them when they were going to walk out of their avatar shell and go to their next adventure. And so these guys, Satan and Lucifer, them and all of their minions, which are the 81 billion demons on this planet, they feed off of the loosh of people suffering, fear, destruction, anger, sadness, grief, pain, all of that. They feed off of all of that. That's what they feed on. So what they did is they edited us and they made us into carbon-based 2-strand life forms. So now we get sick and we die. And, you know, back then you die when you were like 12, or you die when you're 15, or you die when you're 20. And now the oldest you get is maybe what, 70s, 80s, 90s. Some people are lucky and make it past 100 if you live in a blue zone like Greece. If you live somewhere like Japan, like Okinawa, or somewhere like that, where you can you know, where you're eating really good food, you might be able to make it past 100. But they did that because then they're using us as batteries. The movie The Matrix was a documentary. I keep telling people that we are the batteries. We are the batteries for them. So anyway, so the ascension is something that happens every 26,000 years in a star system, or actually in a universe, in a galaxy. So what's going to happen here on Earth, which is the ascension that we're going through right now, actually affects the entire our universe. So it affects the Pleiadians, it affects the Arcturians, it affects the Sirians, the Lyrans, you know, everybody out there. It affects everyone, because we're all kind of growing up. Think of it as souls all growing up at the same time. And so
I call it soul maturity. Like we're moving into soul maturity. It's my favorite word of this year.
Yeah. So we were plunged into darkness of what we call a third density. We were turned into we went from being a 5th to 9th density, a planet where there were people living that were anywhere from 5th to 9th density. Now, density consciousness is a consciousness level. Okay. And 5 and higher is love and above. Okay. If anything 5 and higher, like 528 hertz, which is what the earth frequency is, which is love. Anything higher than that is 5 and above, or love, and more love, you know, higher. But anything below that is fear, especially 3D. And so they turned this planet into third density fear consciousness. So there's war and destruction and raping and pillaging and murdering and torturing and all the awful, and poverty and starvation and all the horrible things, and illness, of course, that goes on, and suffering on this planet. It's just suffer. So they turned it into hell. Basically a hell planet is what they turned it into, and a prison planet.
Hard to see it that way, but it's starting to kind of feel a little like that after the last 3 years we've been through.
Exactly. And so we are now going from the 3D fear consciousness to a 5th density. The planet herself she's actually already switched.
That's now what
she's
heard.
waiting. She already switched.
I was going to ask you that, because I thought that was what happened.
Yeah, she switched. She's waiting for us. So the humans here are still stuck in 3D, except for some of us. Okay, so all the people who are what we call awake light workers, the people who are awake and they're light workers and they're spreading love and whatever, we are already 4D. So if you're a person who is a loving, kind, compassionate, nice person. You're in fourth density. What is fourth density? Well, I explained the densities in Ascension 101.
Yes.
The 3D is the fear consciousness. The 4D is love, means love. And you see how you're unified with everyone else. So none of this, I'm better than you. I'm more important than you because of my skin color, my religion, my church I go to, my nationality. You know, there's none of that. And fourth density is, I see we are all connected. We are all brothers and sisters. And it's this love and acceptance frequency. Fifth density is what I call the supernatural. So fifth density is when you get back all of the powers that were stripped away from you back in Atlantean times. So in Atlantean times, we had telepathy, telekinesis. You could move things with your mind. You could bilocate yourself. You could, you know, just all kinds of psychic abilities. We're like superhuman. We're like the Greek gods.
Interesting.
And yeah.
And this was all given to you through Yeshua and Mary Magdalene?
Yeah, I had no idea about any of this, just so you know. I had no
I just
clue.
wanted to put in there, where did you get this from? Because people
Yeah,
like,
they gave it to
how
me.
did she know all this?
4 years. So 4 or 5 years ago, starting back about 5 years ago, they started teaching me. They were teaching me about it. And until then, I had no idea. I had no idea about that. You know, I thought 2012 was going to be the end of the world as we know it and all that kind of thing, you know, with the Mayan calendar.
I didn't feel like it was, but I was interested to see what was going to happen. So I was up at 6 a.m. with a bunch of holistic friends in a circle, waiting to see what would happen as the sun rose. And it was basically the start of our true ascension energy.
Yes, that's when it began. So the ascension of the planet began in 2012 officially. It really started with the harmonic convergence. Sorry, I'm taking my sweater off because I'm just sweating here. I'm like hot.
I know, it's beautiful. We have a beautiful day today. It's the warmest day. It's very nice.
Okay, I'm better now. Woo. Okay. Plus the menopausal hot flashes. Anyways, okay. So basically, where were we? Because I got
you were talking about Mary Magdalene. You were talking about you were talking about Atlantis and Lemuria and what we were in Atlantis.
So we had these gifts. So we're going to that, but you have to understand that in order to be fifth density, you have to do what's called your work, your spiritual work, which is what the book is for. It's a roadmap to help you to do the work, to get you started. So you know that you have to clear your past life traumas and you got to clear your ego. I have a whole chapter on how to be happy the rest of your life. And it has to do with getting rid of the dark sides of your ego. And that is called shadow work. I have a whole chapter on shadow work and dark night of the soul and all that. You have to go through all of these learning experiences in order to get to fifth density and higher densities.
Do you find that there's more than one dark night of the soul that people go through?
Oh, heck yeah. I've gone through many.
Yeah, exactly. You know, when I first heard of it, I went through one and I said, oh, good, I'm done. Not true.
No.
Nobody talked about there are multiple dark nights of the soul. And now I understand it, because every time it starts coming up, I'm like, oh no, not again. But then you go through it and then you feel better. So I mean, this was like 3 years of a dark night of the soul that we're going through. So
yeah, we're going through a 3-year, the whole earth is going through it together, actually. And it's like growing pains, or I mean, birthing pains, because we're about to birth new earth. We're creating a new heaven on earth. Basically, when he appeared to me and told me to write this book, this was back in 2018, 2019. He said that the world you know is about to die, quote unquote, and I am going to resurrect a new Shambhala. And I'm like, what the heck's a Shambhala? I had to go, and it means heaven on earth. Heaven on earth. And then a month later he pops in and he goes, oh, very soon there's going to be much more heaven on earth. And I'm like,
we cannot wait. Let's put it that way. We are so ready, but I know we're not completely ready, but we're really close. We're so close now.
Yeah. So we're birthing a new earth, and we're going from this 3D through 4D to 5D. And it's important to point out that all of the people on this earth who are in that fear consciousness, they're vibrating in that lower frequency. If they don't change soon, they're going to be leaving here. So anyone who cannot get into four or higher will be out of here. You have to be in that love consciousness. What does that mean? 51% or more service to others, which doesn't mean you're going out and serving food at a soup kitchen. It just means that you care about other people before yourself. You care about people. You have compassion. You're kind. You're respectful to your fellow humans and to yourself. You have to do that to yourself. That's what it means.
Yeah.
So,
And that's so powerful because, and you know, I think the service to others also, then there's the flip side where you have to love yourself. And isn't that part of the ascension work as well?
yes, you have to learn to love yourself unconditionally.
Right. And you can't give it all away. So it's not exactly only service to others. It's also loving yourself. So how do you see that? How does that fit in with what you're saying?
Yeah. So in order to, honestly, I've talked about this in videos before, in order to really unconditionally love other people properly, you have to love yourself first, because you can't like despise yourself and be loving to others, because it's hard to explain it, but it has to come from within first. It has to start within you. And that, if that means every morning looking in the mirror and looking at yourself and saying, I love you, and accepting yourself, your body, everything, whether you're fat, you're skinny, you're this, you're that, you're blonde, you're dark. I mean, I remember when I was a little girl, I wished I had straight blonde hair, you know, and now I don't anymore.
Yes and no. Yeah, you don't.
Yeah, I don't anymore.
You want to have curl in it.
Yeah, I don't anymore.
That straight look.
Yeah, my hair is very curly. Actually, today it's pretty flat because it's really dry. The air is really dry, but it's usually spiral curls, you know.
It's great. It's beautiful. Yeah.
Thank you. But the thing is you always want what you don't have. Well, you have to stop that behavior and stop wanting what you don't have and learn to accept what you are, who you are, and what you have right now in this moment. And learning that unconditional love and hugging yourself and thinking about God hugging you, because God holds all of us in the palm of its hand. I say it because it's a male and female. I explain what God is in the book too. I talk all about what God is, but God holds us all in the palm of its hand and loves us unconditionally, no matter what we do. And that's what you have to do for yourself first, in order for you to be a good wife, a good mother, a good sister, a good brother, a good coworker, whatever. In order to love others, you have to start with yourself and accepting yourself and fully embracing who you are as a you know, a soul that's having a human experience. The movie Avatar is showing us what this is. You know, you take on this body, which is an avatar, your consciousness and your soul go on forever and ever and ever.
It just showed you like the physical appearance of what a soul could be. It's amazing. I mean, when you really look at that, the metaphor for the whole movie was incredible. But I wanted to ask you, a question just popped up that I never thought of, but it's, when did you start loving yourself?
Not until recent years, not until I started learning this. So when I wrote the book, I was also learning, and I was also working on myself at the time, but I've already been working on myself for about, let me think about this. I started working on myself before my kids were born, and they're 20, the oldest is 25. Yeah. So I'd say like 26, 27, 28 years, 29 years, something like that. I've been working on myself. That's why I've gone through like several dark nights of the soul, and I've had to go in and go out of them, but I'm constantly doing work. But the loving myself where I am, I had to heal a lot of mother wounds, a lot of trauma, a lot of childhood trauma. And that is part of our work for the Ascension. In order to go to 5D, you have to do all your, you know, inner child work. You have to heal all your childhood trauma, all your past life stuff, all of your stuff from this life. If you've been abused by anyone, whether it's a boyfriend, a husband, whatever, coworker, you know, you have to heal all of it in order to go to the next level. Otherwise, you're in 4D. You're stuck. You're going to go from 3 to 4, but you're going to stay in 4 until you've done all the work. And I'm clear now. I finally finished my work. Really? So now I'm starting to get more and more of the 5D stuff, which is your psychic powers expanding, because the more you do your work, the more your psychic powers expand, because 5D is all about the psychic powers and all that kind of stuff.
And you're living from your heart. So it's a pure energy. And that's what I call, you're stepping into the spiritual maturity, because you're fully responsible for what you're doing, what you're creating, what you say. I mean, you're very present in everything that you do. Is basically you're living in the moment, and you're very conscious of everything that you're doing. And that to me is fully 5D living, because you're you're aware of
Yeah.
what you're saying. I mean, not that you're perfect. I mean, even 5D isn't totally perfect, but they do live beautifully from their heart, is what I've seen and I've felt when I go in and out of it. You know, we go in, we go out, we go in, we go out, because it's not, you don't always, I mean, I guess they say once you get there, you stay. That's what I heard from your book. Is that true? Once you get to that dimension, you're in.
When
and you
you're
go
fully
down?
there, you're only going to keep going higher. You're going to
Okay.
just keep going higher because you're only moving forward. You can't move back. Now,
Mhm.
right now where we are, we're in a transitional phase where, yeah, you can teeter between two sections. So you can have some people who are kind of 3, kind of 4, like they still have narcissism and ego and competition. I'm better than you. I'm more important than you, or what we call racists and haters. And, you know, they could be very loving to their family, but then turn around and be really mean to a coworker because they're a
Right.
certain race or this or
Right.
that. And,
Yeah.
you know, and so they're kind of teetering in between the 3 and the 4. Once you get 100% into 4, you're not really going back again, because in order, I mean, to get there, you have to literally give away all the fear, all the rage, all of the nastiness, all the nastiness has to go bye-bye in order to fully be in 4. And then once you're fully in 4, some of those people can teeter between 5 and 4. So every now and then I'm back in 4, and then I'm into 5, and I'm not 100% 5 yet. But once you're 100% 5, there's no going back. You're just going to move forward.
Which is so wonderful.
So,
And,
yeah.
you know, I've heard people say that even those who aren't fully awake will ascend. What do you
Yes,
think
they
of that?
will. Yeah.
Yes.
So,
Okay.
so everybody is. So, you know, the term where we go one, we go all, that's like
Oh, of
not,
course.
yeah, they actually hijacked that from the spiritual realm, because as a soul, we are a collective consciousness of souls. We all chose to incarnate and create this experiment called Earth. We created this experiment together, and it just went hayward because it got hijacked by dark beings. It got hijacked, and we got enslaved, and Earth was put into quarantine, and we were locked down, and, you know, like,
Sure, because they didn't want this spreading
Yeah.
throughout the galaxy.
Yeah. Yeah. Well, also what I didn't talk about is the Draco reptilians that came here in 11,000. Well, they've been here for a long time, but they really took us over 11,500 years ago. And they were going from star system to star system and destroying them. They went to, there was the Orion Wars, there was the Lyran Wars. They blew up the Lyran homeworlds.
Those are the galactic wars, and that's how
all of the
they ended
galactic
up here, isn't it? Because, well, not all, because a lot of them came here, and we this is what I've heard or understand. We took them in as a refuge with, you know, open heart, and then because of their negativity, it brought down the vibration on the planet. Is that true?
Yeah, that, but they also perpetrated an enslavement of us, and then they eat humans. They eat humans. In fact, they eat humans
Oh,
while
dear.
they're
I
alive.
know
Yeah.
that's a tough subject to talk about.
Yeah.
Because
Yeah.
people who aren't even aware that they exist, hearing that
Mhm.
is a tough one. But, you know,
They've been doing it for 11,500 years, and nobody's known. You know, people go missing all the time, and have since for thousands of years. People just go missing. Nobody ever knows why. Nobody knows why.
Right.
Hope they went missing. We don't know where they are. Children, people, adults, babies, you know.
Well, that is true. And kids run away and they don't come back, and nobody ever finds them again. So you don't know what happens to them either. And that's another story.
Mhm.
That's another sad story. There's a
Yeah.
lot of things going on our planet which are really difficult to hear. And for those who have never heard it, it's going to be kind of a shock, especially talking
It
about
is.
reptilians. That's like, I remember the first time I heard about them was David Icke talking
I love
about,
David Icke.
I know, talking about one of our past presidents, he could see the reptilian in him. And
I can too.
And I was like, oh my God, that is the
Mhm.
craziest idea ever. So, you know, you think they're kind of wacko. And then of course we come into this stuff. I didn't think he was totally wacko. I was like, well, that's a really unusual thing. And so my mind was open. I didn't go no, but I said, okay, I'm going to just put that in the background and we'll see where that goes. And so then we came into this whole last 3 years, and then a lot more has come up if you go down those rabbit holes. Now, not everybody does because they can't handle it.
No, they
And
can't handle it. It makes them sick, like
yeah,
physically
and
and
a lot of
emotionally.
people aren't meant to, is what I
Yeah.
understand. Because some of my friends would say, don't talk to me about that. I can't handle it. So
Yeah.
I'm a rabbit hole girl. I know you are too.
I am too. But when they wake up though, so what will happen is there's this event coming, they call it the Great Solar Flash, but it's not one flash. It already started actually back in
Yes, we've had
2012.
flashes, haven't
Yeah,
we?
in 2012, and it's little bursts that come from the central
Mhm.
sun through our sun, and
And
they
what
raise
they
up the
do to us.
frequency and
Yeah.
wake everybody up one by one by one. And the reason that you and I are awake now and the people like us are awake now is we chose to be the teachers of the rest of the crew when they come online. So they're all going to come online. Don't be like afraid. I keep telling people are freaking out thinking, oh my God, my family is dead. This is going to happen. No, 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 no.
No, not at all.
We're all in this together. Okay. Where we go, when we go all, but what's going to happen is we will be their teachers when they snap
Have
out
to
of their,
get into the hard stuff. We'll be here to help them through it. And just to
Mhm,
say, we've all made it through it, and, we're going to do okay. In the end, we're
mhm.
all going to be okay. It's just getting through the reality checks that we have to go through before we get there. Because there's a lot of what the awakening is, a lot of heavy reality checks. If they're meant to come out. I mean, I don't know how much is going to come out. We've heard things in the groups that we're in, but not the mainstream. The mainstream, although they're starting to shift, is a lot of excitement coming on. I don't watch it a lot, but I hear it from friends.
I don't watch it. Yeah.
Yeah, friends are talking about different things. But so it's happening. Ascension is happening.
Mhm.
Where do you see, what do you think of the percentage we're at now? Do you have any idea? Did they ever tell
So
you?
there's only 15% of the humans on this
Really?
planet that are totally, completely awake, completely
Okay, that's a
awake.
wait. All
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
So do we need 51? What's the 51% about?
I don't know. Oh, 51% is 51% service to others. So you have to
Oh,
be
that's right.
mostly a
That's
nice
what that
person.
was.
You have to be mostly a nice person
Right. If
in
you do
order to
that,
stay here.
then you're gonna ascend, you're going to move into the
Yeah.
higher 5D consciousness, 4 or 5D consciousness. So,
Yep.
I mean, as long as you're a decent person,
Hmm.
you're okay.
Yep.
But
Yep.
just realize, you have to keep it up. You can't
Yeah.
start switching around there. But I mean, I think most people are fairly decent people. I mean,
Yeah, they are.
I
Yeah.
think that's the world in general, but
Hmm.
if the fear, they got to let go of the fear, because we've made it this far. I mean, not everybody made it exactly where they wanted to be, but many souls are transitioning, but that is part of their contract. Their soul contract is also part of what do you see it as? Why they're leaving, these souls?
Oh, well, okay. So I love talking about this. Thanks for asking about that. That's such a great question. It's one of my favorite questions because it's fun to talk about. So basically, and I actually have a chapter in my book too about why people get sick and die, what are all the reasons? But okay, so some of these people have been stuck in that prison thing because they actually had like a trap. So when you died, you didn't actually go to
Oh,
heaven. You
sure.
went
That's
into
the
your soul
4D.
went into the
Isn't
trap.
that 4D?
That's the fourth
trap?
dimension. That's the fourth dimension.
Okay.
Now, dimension's a location, not a consciousness level. It's a dimension.
Okay.
And so, yes, the demonic entities come from the fourth dimension and they trap you in the fourth dimension when
Okay.
you were passing over. And so seventh dimension is where heaven is. That's where heaven is. It's in the same place we're in.
I thought it was higher.
It's
I love
seventh.
that it's seventh. I love that.
Seventh heaven. And so it's in the seventh dimension. And so what happened is they were trapping souls. There's people who have been reincarnated that I've done readings for like 300-400 times over, and they're freaking exhausted and they just want to leave here. They just want to go home. They want to go back either to heaven or they want to go back to their star systems they came from. There's a lot of people who are here who came from other star systems and they want to go back. And so a lot of people will be leaving who are nice, really good. I've already had a lot of light worker friends who went out with cancers and heart attacks and different things in recent times, accidents, whatever. In fact, the lady that I interviewed on my channel, the numbers lady who was, name lady who was reading your name, doing a reading based on your name.
Okay.
She passed away suddenly with COVID. She got COVID and she died. And she did not have one of those things. But she just went, she got it and she died. And so those people are checking out for a few reasons. Okay. They're really high level, what I call like the very angelic, like nice people, really nice people that are checking out. They're checking out because they can actually help us more when they're not in their physical form. Like my brother, he checked out a year and a half ago and he said he can help me more from the other side than he was able to when he was here physical. So he's with me whenever I do a session, he's right there standing there when I do sessions with clients. Yeah.
How old
Because
was your brother? Was he older or younger?
he was 5 years younger than me to 6,
wow.
5 to 6 years younger. Yeah. Kind of 5.5-ish years younger. Yeah.
Mhm.
So, and it was really hard. He was taken out by the bad guys, using big pharma.
Uh,
Yeah.
yep.
And so anyways, he chose it as a door, and he chose it because he wanted to, he is a better help to me from the other side. So there's a lot of people that are leaving now and have already been leaving. I know a lot of famous light workers who started checking out in like 2002, 2003. And it's because when they're in spirit form, they can assist the process of the ascension of the planet better from that spirit form than they can when they're in the physical, because we're really limited by this physical body. It's very dense, it's very heavy, and you don't have any magical powers. You're not a supernatural being when you're
Until we get to 5D, then we'll have a little bit more of that, right?
Yes. Yeah. You won't be fully supernatural, but you'll be very supernatural compared to now. And so there's some of the people who are checking out so they could be a better service from the other side. Some of them are checking out because they're just sick and tired of the baloney and they just want out of here.
Well, you get exhausted. There's a lot to it. Believe me. I mean, I think we've all had that cross our mind. Like, how much more can I handle? We all get there. And then you've got to say, well, there's a reason I'm here and I'm still here. So I'm going to stay and do what I need to do. I mean, you have to just finally get to the commitments. Like, I'm not going anywhere.
Yep. And then there's the third group. And the third group is people being taken out by demonic entities and archons and negative ETs and the cabal, as we call them. Are taking out a percentage of the population, and those people had their free will stolen from them. There will be punishment for that, for those beings who did that to them. They will get punished. They had their life taken away way before it was their time. They did not want that. They did not ask for it. They did not choose that as a learning lesson, or anything. They were snuffed out against their will. There will be punishment that those beings will have to face that did that. And then the people who are snuffed out, now that they're in spirit form, the joke is on the idiots that did it to them, because now they're more powerful. Okay. Because you're limited when you're in a.
I'm happy for them that they can be that way and be helping us, because we do need all the help we can get to get through this. There's a lot going on, and we've kind of been in a sheltered position, or we allowed ourselves to be, which we thought was a nice position, but it's turning out not to be that sheltered position that we thought. It's more of the trapped position that we were in.
Yep. So, and then the last group, I think, is the ones that chose whatever for a learning purpose. Because karma has been erased. Karma was wiped out. The lords of karma were destroyed in 2012. That whole thing about, you owe karma, so you have to keep reincarnating. I talk about it in the book. I call it the wheel of samsara, but you have to keep coming in and having a suffering life, and that was all false light contracts by the dark. Oh, you were bad, you were a sinner, so we're going to send you back in, and you get to be tortured again and killed again, and your village gets to be burned down. Sin is a
man-made construct. It's not even a real thing.
It's not a thing.
It's another mind control device to keep us under control.
Yeah, I talked about that in my third book, Walking with Yeshua and Mary Magdalene, all about the whole sin thing and how they used it as a business ploy to make billions of dollars. And,
it's unbelievable how so many things can be taken down to business and power. It's not even, all the truths that we were told, all the cultural ideas and norms we brought up with, they all had agendas. And that's the hard part to get through, get through all that. And, So, all right. So we talked about going from 3D to 5D. Anything else you want to say about that? How else can they get there? Is it?
Yeah, it's really important to do your work. So if you're watching us talking, whoever's watching us talking right now, I can guarantee you're not in 3D, because the people who follow me, like on my channel, and all my subscribers and my clients and my students, they're all 40 and higher. Okay. I don't have any 3D people, because 3D people would watch this and they'd poo-poo it and go, oh, what a bunch of crap. And they'd walk away with a snitty face. They'd never like it. They would never do it. The people who follow me are following me because they're already in that frequency, in that vibration. So what you need to know to move forward on your journey, because we're all on a soul journey, you have to understand that we're all in different starting. We're all in the same starting spot when you're like in a race. Like, think about an Olympic race, and everybody actually went to Olympia in Greece. And there was little markers where everybody, there was like a line where everybody stood and they put put their foot on the marker and they all take off from the same spot. But
Sure.
how long it takes you to get to the finish line is different for each person. Everybody's on their own personal journey. So don't try to compete with others. Am I more ascended than this person? Am I ahead? Am I, whatever. Don't worry about that. Worry about your own self. That's number one, because your journey is your journey alone. It's unique to you, and it will take you as much time as you need for your soul to get to wherever it is, you're going. And then you need to do the inner work. What is the inner work? Connecting with God every day. I mean, the biggest thing that Yeshua has been telling me for the last 2 weeks now, I did a video on my YouTube channel about it and everything, is people need to connect with God every single day and actually hear God, like learn to hear God, because I'm not like some special person. God speaks to and Yeshua too speaks to every person on the planet. But the people their brains are full of all kinds of garbage and they're tuning it out. They're tuning out God, or maybe they do hear, but they're ignoring. And so they need to connect with the divine on a daily basis. That's really important. And they need, to sit and meditate, and self-care is so important right now, because if you don't,
what's your suggestions of how to do that? Yep.
Yeah. Eating a holistic, what I call an anti-inflammatory diet. If you want to know the best diet, read the Blue Zone book, where the people live to be 100 plus. It's because of the diet that they're eating. So like a Mediterranean diet is what I mostly eat. What they eat in Greece, Italy, south of France, Spain, and those areas like that, especially Greece, Japan, I eat, a lot of similar kind of stuff, because my daughter is really obsessed with all things Japanese culture and Japanese food. And, so we eat very, very healthy, and we eat organic, get all the GMO and pesticide out of your body. You need to detox your body. Really important to get all the heavy metals out, because they spray them in the air. They put them in the food and water and in the vegetables. And you've got the pesticides and the toxins and everything everywhere. It's in your house. My Real Fountain of Youth book, that's what that's all about. It has a whole chapter, well, not the whole book, but I have a whole chapter on chemical and environmental, the stress that kills you, that makes you sick and keeps you from healing. There's just toxins and stuff in our face and our skincare. Like I only wear like organic mineral-based makeups and, stuff like that. Your skin's your largest organ in your body. Whatever you put on your skin goes into your bloodstream and goes to all your organs and kills you if it's not pure, if it's not good stuff like shea butter and olive oil and stuff like that. So doing self-care, eating a good diet, watching what's in your house, getting rid of all the chemicals out of your house and replacing it with stuff like environmentally safe cleaning products and baking soda and vinegar and, really holistic kind of, stuff. And eating good exercise, moving your body. Your body is not meant to sit on your ass day after day and not move, because then you will get heart disease and you'll get high blood pressure and you'll get diabetes
in front of a computer, right?
Yeah. So you have to get up and you have to move, because it says in the Bible, the body is the temple of the Holy Spirit. And that is 100% true. This avatar encases your Holy Spirit that goes on forever. And if this thing dies, that's it. Then you're on to the next show, whatever that's going to be. So you want to take care of it, because it's kind of like a slap in the face to God when you go and you eat fast food every day and smoke cigarettes and do drugs and drink tons of alcohol and get drunk. And when you're abusing your body, you're actually slapping God in the face. It's like a huge slap, because your body is a gift. It's a gift. And so it's very precious. And that's part of that self-love. If you're abusing yourself with food or alcohol or tobacco or drugs that are bad kind of drugs, and I'm not talking about smoking pot like for medicinal purposes. There's plant medicines that are healing, like mushrooms and marijuana and stuff like that are healing. But if you have too much of it, it's abusive. So if you're doing it to get high, it's not good for you. If you're doing it to get rid of your pain, that's a different thing altogether. So they're two different things, but you need to nourish and love on your body. It's all part of the self-love, because if you can't do that, you're not going to ascend. You're just not going to. You're going to leave this body, you're going to die, and you're going to go to your next thing, whatever that is. Being kind, loving, compassionate, and respectful to everybody, your friends, your family, your neighbors, your boss, your animal, your pets, everyone. And yourself, respect yourself, set boundaries. Don't let people walk all over you and treat you like shit and kick you around like a dog.
Well, you do have to reclaim your power. And that's part of your sacred truth, because we give it away so easily People like to be taken care of, but that's still not, it's not healthy.
Yep.
It's not healthy to give it all away. You have to, it's a give and take. And you
Yep.
also, the loving yourself to me has always been the key. Love
Yep.
yourself first, and then you can give that love out to the rest of the world.
Exactly. That's what I said. And if you
Yeah.
can't love yourself, you're not going to be very good at doing it to other people, loving other people, because how can you? Everybody's a mirror of you. You have to understand we are all mirrors of each other. So if I don't love myself, how would I really love my husband or my children in an effective manner? Because if I'm abusing myself and I'm not loving myself, it's going to reflect onto them somehow, and it's going to affect them in a very negative way. So you can't.
How do you teach them about love if you can't love yourself? It's not easy, because when we, you grew up in religion, I know you had religious upbringing. I had 12 years of Catholic school, and
I was teaching catechism to first and second graders in the Catholic Church. I was really indoctrinated. I was doing rosaries every day. I had the priest over for dinner at my house regularly.
We were never that level. No. I did join the CYO, the Catholic Youth Organization. I was the secretary in it and did that kind of stuff, but it wasn't like, I didn't feel like it would took over my life, But I never really believed in it, even though I was in it. I did it because it felt like maybe it was the best choice at the moment, but it wasn't my real prime choice. I didn't have one. I couldn't see one yet. Isn't that interesting? I don't know. Did you see that? It was an important choice for you to be in the church?
When I was in it, because I was going through a learning process. So I had to go through a multi-step learning process to get to where I am right now. And it was part of the process of my soul purpose and learning on this planet. And, I talk about that actually in the book, the soul purpose versus your missions. You have different missions in your life. Your soul has a purpose, and it's to learn, to constantly learn and grow. And I had to learn, how does this work and all of that, so that I could, okay, so this is going to sound really awful, but this is the truth. Sometimes you have to join the darkness in order to fight it and take it down.
Absolutely.
Because my new book completely rips apart the whole church and all the churches and it destroys it all. Okay. So in order for me to understand it and to fight it and to tear it all down, I needed to be part of it and learn how it operated.
Well, a lot of people are going to go, well, my church gives me peace. So, I mean, it's something that they need some kind of stability today. So what do we say to those people?
Well, they need to keep doing that until they wake up. So when somebody's fully awake and they see how that was all founded, like the founding of it and all the history, like if they read my book, which goes into all that, what they did, the original Bible was 777 books, and it was 4 feet tall.
Wow.
4 feet tall. The Emperor Constantine was the first Antichrist. Him and the Vatican Council destroyed the first Bible. They removed 700 and something books from it, and then they made it into this small thing, and they rearranged all the stories, changed everything out, added in words, dark magic, gematria, predictive programming, so that we humans, because the Draco are not able to create, so they use humans to create for them. So every time they show you a movie or they tell you a story, you're focusing on that. Whatever you focus on with your thoughts, you're creating it. And that's part of the ascension, is learning to focus all of your thoughts on manifesting the future you want to see. The golden age, you have to keep focusing on the golden age, because if you focus on, oh, we're going to die, the Chinese are going to blow us up, blah, blah, blah. If you focus on that, then that's what you're going to create. So if you focus on the Armageddon story in the Bible, which was all inverted, then you will make that happen. Okay. And
focus on that.
Yeah. And so it's all predictive programming. So when these people who are indoctrinated into all the religions, the main religions, Judaism, Christianity, and Islam, and then Mormon is part of Christianity. It's under that in the same umbrella, because they also worship Jesus. When people learn that all of those were created on a lie, and they were created by very bad men who are power hungry, enslavement, psychopaths, when they find out all the truth, even Peter, Saint Peter.
I read about him in your book. I did read that part.
He was very bad.
Well, I know he never liked Mary Magdalene, because he
wanted to kill her. He
was jealous of her attention that Yeshua gave her. Yeah. And I always felt, wow, what a strange thing. Because
he actually made a comment that all women should be killed.
I mean, what do they think? How do they have babies? I mean, how do they think the world still creates? I mean, why would you not like women? I don't understand that.
Because
He
they're
just
crazy
doesn't like
pants.
himself is what it sounds like.
He's a narcissist.
Exactly. That's what
Yeah.
that is. It's a
Yeah, he was a total narcissist. So the thing is that when
It's so
someday all of
interesting,
these
yeah.
people who are indoctrinated are going to have their wake up moment, and they'll be able to see the truth of everything. And once they see that, then we will be able to teach them. Until they see the truth and they really, really digest it and understand it and embrace it, there's nothing we can do for them. We have to just let them find their way.
Right. That's why I wanted to soften a little what you said, because if people still, even 40 could be going to church.
No, let them do it. Let them keep doing
They've
it
got
because
to do
it's
what they need
community.
to do right
yeah.
now to stay grounded enough to get to the next level.
I
And
say
then
let them do it. Let them do it.
and then the wake up call will come slowly where they can handle it better.
They can,
Like you and I mean, I got mine. I started I started waking up in 99, or actually I'd say 1992, but then 99 I really got a big wake up call. But then the big giant one came in about 2014 or 15, when I really started hearing about disclosure and this and that and this and that, and I was blown away about just the different things that
So
could
me
be going
too.
on.
About 9 years ago is when I found out that the whole Vatican was corrupt and that they did terrible things,
It was hard to
sacrificing.
hear. It was very hard to hear
Yeah.
because being a Catholic girl at the time, but although I haven't been in church in a
Mhm.
long time, because once I got spiritual, I never felt it was not ringing true for me anymore.
Yeah.
And it's a different.
Well, I was in church every Sunday, and well, actually several times a week, because I sang with the choir. I taught religious
You have an
education.
amazing voice, by the way. I heard you sing, and I was so shocked. I had no idea you had that talent.
I'm a
And
trained opera singer.
I had no idea that you have a gorgeous voice. I mean,
Thank
if
you.
people want to hear your voice, you gave that beautiful Christmas gift. Oh my God.
Oh,
And
I
then
did a new one since then.
I did hear that one.
Yeah.
I heard that first, and then I heard the Christmas gift. I said, oh my gosh, she has so many talents, this woman. So, I mean, that you are gifted with an amazing voice. I mean, she definitely has a beautiful voice, everyone. So if you want to
Thank you. I don't think
Kimberly's
it's good,
voice.
but
Oh, it's beautiful.
I'm very self-critical, so I don't think it's that
everyone
great.
is. Everyone is. But I mean, if you could sing like anyone who could sing like that, I would give you high marks. I mean, I can't sing like that. So it's beautiful.
Well, that's okay. I admire all the artists. Like, I love and admire art. I can spend hundreds of hours in art galleries, but I still can only draw stick people. I suck at drawing art.
You can't do all of it.
I just appreciate it so
gifts.
much, but I can't do it. I'm not
all right.
able to.
You say thank you for your gift, and we all appreciate your gift. And so we all have our gifts, and that's the part that's so beautiful.
But I wanted to go back really quick to what you were saying about the church. So for people who still want to keep going, and there's like, it gives me peace and all that, if that's how they feel, then they absolutely have to stay in there. If they're feeling positive feelings, and they need to stay with that, because they need that security blanket right now while we're going through the transition.
The foundation. They need a grounding where they
absolutely.
That make them feel like they have support some way, because without any of that, it's really hard. You've got to have some kind of tether. We have ours with the spiritual world and with each other, and sharing what we share. So what else? So I know you channel Yeshua, you channel Mary Magdalene as well, you said.
So I don't okay, so I want to explain about channeling to people. Channeling is a really dangerous thing, and you can get totally taken over by entities.
Yes. You don't
I only channel my higher self and God. That's it.
Okay.
But what I do is I have a conversation with the other beings. Like, I talk to Archangel Michael, I talk to Yeshua, I talk to Mary Magdalene, I talk to Mother Mary. That's it. I'm very careful who I talk to, because there's a lot of entities that are infiltrating right now.
You have
really
to check.
Bad.
You have to check.
Yeah.
You have to know what they are. I know. Well, I've learned to pour salt over everybody.
Well, and I teach my clients discernment when I'm doing a private session. I teach them how to discern if it's a good entity versus a bad entity. And so my favorite phrase is, Satan will tell you 99 truths to get in one lie, but that one lie will destroy you, whatever that is. So he'll tell you good stuff. Like, you'll watch a video with some truther person on there, and everything sounds la-da-da, really good. And then one day you hear one bad thing that's really bad. And you're like, what the heck? Because they were good. And then boom. And I've had to turn off channels. I've had to unsubscribe because I was subscribed to a person's channel. They were giving out all kinds of stuff. And then one day, boom, they snuck in like a missile.
Yep.
It's like a stealth
I've heard
bomber,
that
like a stealth
myself,
bomber.
yes.
Yeah. It
I've
sneaks
heard
in
it
there.
on a certain couple of channels, and
Yeah.
I was blown away. Like, did they actually just say that? It's like they say it so quick, like you almost trick yourself. Like that didn't really happen, did it? But it did.
There was a guy I was following for a long time, and then he started talking about how good Hitler was, and that the Holocaust didn't happen the way they said, and that all the, blah, blah. And he was just anti-Jewish stuff like crazy, super anti-Semitic stuff was coming out of him. And I was like, oh my God, I will never follow this person again.
Well, that's
Never.
That's our discernment. And this is where we have
Yeah.
to stand in our power. And these are the things we have to learn right now as we're moving through these are the dark nights of the soul. These are all the parts to gain our soul mastery, to move into ascension. So it's huge for us. So what else? Like, we're getting close here, so we probably going to
Well, people need to raise their vibrational frequency. So if you get my book, Ascension 101, I have a whole chapter in there on how to protect yourself from your vibration being lowered, and ways to raise your frequency, because how you ascend is raising your frequency higher and higher and higher and higher. That's the most important thing of all. And so I have full instructions, just hundreds and hundreds of examples. And I also have examples on how to know you're actually ascending. How do you know? Like, one of the things is you see your connection to everybody on the earth. You start to see numbers like 111, 222, 333. You start to have a lot of what people would call as coincidences, but they're really synchronicities. You start to see synchronicities happening in your life, like people showing up at the right time and all these things. That's how you know you're ascending in the right direction, actually. And you just feel lighter and lighter and lighter. Maybe things in your body are starting to heal and move and shift. You're getting over the traumas, you're getting over that stuff, you're connecting more with other star seeds. You feel like you don't fit in as a big one. Like, ever since I was a child, I've never fit in school with the kids. I was bullied from 2.5 until I was 18. That's how you know you're a star seed and a light worker, is you just don't ever fit in with any of the other humans.
I wasn't bullied, but I was always sort of on the outside looking in kind of person. Yep.
Yeah, I never fit in. And even as an adult, like even living in neighborhoods as a mom, the other moms were always talking shit behind my back, and I never fit in with their cliques. And when I worked at a job, I was always outed from the corporate clique. I was the whatever man out, the person out. They didn't, and they talk about me all the time, and they didn't even know me. Like, that's what always was upsetting to me, is the people who would always talk about me didn't even know me or know anything about me. They would just decide, we don't like her, we're going to make trouble for her. So, and
well, the problem with all of that is that they have very low self-esteem, and it's all about them and not about you or me. And this is what I've learned. This is where we learn to stand in our sovereignty and just say, well, if you're saying this about me, then that's a mirror about you. Because what someone said to me once, my favorite sentence I've ever learned is, if you spot it, you got it. And it's so easy.
I'm being told, so I'm hearing right now that I left out the most important thing of all that I need to tell everybody.
Sure.
So when the bad guys took over this planet, they stripped away what's called the divine masculine and the divine feminine, and especially the divine feminine, and they created what's called a patriarchy. Everybody used to worship goddesses, and the religious leaders on the planet were mostly priestesses, women. For a long time.
Early times, yes.
Yeah, I went to ancient Greece, to Mycenae, and to all those places, and to the Palace of Knossos, which is on the island of Crete. And that all of the temple there was all run by women priestesses. Everything was women priestesses, and they worshipped female goddesses and all that kind of stuff. The goddess was a big thing. What is happening with this ascension is the goddess and the divine feminine is returning back to earth again. That Mary Magdalene, Mother Mary, Kuan Yin, Green Tara, White Buffalo Calf Woman, all of that divine feminine, Isis, Hathor, all that, it's returning back to the earth. And even the Hindu goddess, like Lakshmi, is one of my guides. She's one of my guides. She's a Hindu goddess. And so
love
that's the
harmony.
divine loving feminine energy is being restored because they stripped it away when they created this patriarchal prison planet, because the women were the ones that are the nurturers, we're the intuitives that are connected to source all the time. The men are kind of like supposed to be the protectors. The divine masculine is all about protecting the family and protecting the wife and protecting the children. And instead, they have turned all the men on this planet into little pansies so that they can steal all the children to do terrible things to them and break apart the families and just ruin everything. And so we're going to restore the divine feminine, the divine masculine. We're going to have this balance back again, because the balance has gone like this. And the other thing is, before, when it was Atlantean times, the planet was 80% good and 20% bad for learning purposes, because this is a classroom. You incarnate on this earth as a classroom to learn lessons, and you needed 10 to 20% of kind of difficult
Negativity,
situations
Mhm.
in order to learn something. Because if this was just like heaven exactly, it would be boring. Why would you come here? You would
Oh, we
just
wouldn't learn. We wouldn't learn
no,
anything.
no,
Yeah.
you come from a perfect place, which is kind of boring, to come to a place that's really, really interesting, that has a little controversy and stuff going on. Yeah, yeah, a little bit, they're trying to what's that term? Uh, Not stimulate you. What's the term?
Accelerate.
Um Challenge.
Oh.
You need challenge. You need to overcome challenges in order to learn. Okay.
Mhm,
So
mhm.
it was supposed to be 10 to 20% challenges and 80% really good, fluffy, lovely things. When the bad guys took over, they flipped it to now it's 90% bad, 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 and only 10% good. So a small percent of the time you're happy and joyful. And then the other 90% of the time, your life just looks like crap. And that's basically what they did.
Well,
That's
that's
what they
how
did.
it was. We're changing that now, right?
Mhm.
We're shifting it because we're moving into the fourth. We're in the 4D. Many of us are moving into 4D, and many of us have opened up since this whole challenge of 2020 started. It's just been one big wake up call for people, and more people have woken up. Haven't you seen that? Yeah.
Well, actually, okay, I gotta say this one other thing. This is so important for everybody to know. Back in 2012, when all this got going, only 1% or less than 1% of the world population was spiritually awake. And I'm not
1%.
talking, yeah, and I'm not even talking politically awake to some of the political stuff going on. They were just spiritually awake. Okay. 1%. Now it's 15% of the world is spiritually awake and politically awake.
Which is fabulous, because we need to be. This is talking about
Yeah.
stepping into being that spiritually mature and soul mastery, which
Yeah.
is what we're meant to do.
Yeah,
Yeah, so
15%.
exciting.
And that was just since, and actually, I was told that this just happened in the last 4 years. The last
Yeah,
4
I mean,
years.
it's been a huge wake up this last 4 years. I mean, the whole world has shifted so much. It's not anything like it was those other years. I look back at those years and they look so innocent and sweet, and it certainly has changed dramatically, so it's like, wow, it's such a shock. So,
I know.
all right, any
Mhm.
finally word, sorry, any final words that you'd like to share with the listeners, or any particular vision you see for the rest of 2023?
Well, if they go, the thing I want to say is go to my YouTube channel, because I had messages for what's going to happen this
Oh,
year
I
in
did see
2023 and
that. I did
beyond.
see that
I
myself.
have predictions. I have a couple videos
Yeah.
in there that are like predicting and talking about things that are going to happen. And it's all, I see the future because I have prophetic vision. So I see what's coming in the future. Like I see myself standing in front of, I had this vision recently. I was standing in a future classroom, and the children I was teaching, and all the children were floating in the air. They were all
Oh, wow.
levitating. They're all
That's so
levitating.
fantastic.
And then they were doing computering in the air, like in front of them, like this. They're going do, do, do. And it's like they're seeing a computer screen that's like popped up virtual in front of them in the air. And then the bell rings and they all float down, and they come and they're walking out of the classroom, and they come up and hug me and go, "Thank you, Mrs. Palm. Thank you, Mrs. Palm." And they're hugging me and walking out. And it was really cool. And that's because Yeshua told me many years ago that I was going to, in the future, that I'd only be working with children and animals. But he told me that up until that point, I would be helping the humans. So I'm going to be helping the humans until they cut me off and say, nope, now you go to but I've already started working with kids. I actually started teaching children meditation and other stuff back in,
beautiful.
back in, when did I start doing that? 2011, I started working with kids, and their parents, teaching them similar skills, mindfulness and meditation and breathing and all that kind of stuff. So, but in the future, I'm going to be not working with any adults. It'll just be kids and animals, and that's it. Because I'm hoping to get really good telepathy to help heal animals. I want to work with healing animals. That's something that's really important to me, because I love animals more than humans, unfortunately. But
a lot of people do, because animals have unconditional love. So
exactly,
it's so easy to love an animal, and they just sweet souls. They really are. They love us unconditionally.
And the kids too, that I love when I was teaching the first and second graders in the church, the thing I love so much is the stuff that comes out of their mouth is so wise. And I actually learn from them. Like, I learn more from little children than I learned from any adult I've ever met in my life, because the stuff that comes out of them is so wise. And then they're so connected to source. They're really connected. Until kids are like 4, 5, 6 years old, they're very connected to heaven still, and they still have a lot of their memories and everything.
I know. I have 2 grandchildren, 3 and 1. They're both boys, and they're the sweetest souls. Oh, when I'm with them, I'm so uplifted. I swear, my frequency goes right to the roof. Even my husband, he says, we come back from there so uplifted, because the children are just so beautiful to be with. And I just play with my 3-year-old all the time. And the 1.5-year-old is join us now, but the 3-year-old always, he has me going all weekend. It's the most precious thing. I just love it.
I pray for grandkids. My kiddos are 22 and 25. My daughter will be 23.
Young. Give them time. Mine are older.
Yeah.
So it's good. They need to have their life first.
Well, I asked the boss, when is my daughter going to get married? And he said 5 years from now.
Oh yeah, that's perfect. Yeah.
She'll be 28. She'll be 28.
She's still growing up. She's not ready for that. Don't push her. I never push my children, and they're, I'm blessed. I have one of mine has the 2 children. The other one doesn't have any yet. So it doesn't matter. It's going to be right when it's right. I know I didn't do it, so I never push.
I can't wait for those little grandbabies to love on them and kiss them and have fun with them, and then give them back to their parents, so I don't have to deal with it's
the double. It's the beauty of both.
Yeah, I get to take them to the park and play with them, and take them shopping, and take them to do fun, like to the center where they have all the rides, like the fair, the what do you call it, the merry-go-round and all that kind of stuff, and do that kind of stuff, and then say, here you go. Give them back into the
That's the beauty of it. That's what we do as grandparents. Yes. So I know you have a beautiful gift for the audience. Do you want to tell them about it?
Yes. Okay. So the most important thing in order to ascend and develop your 5D psychic abilities is detoxing your entire body. And your brain, your pineal, because your psychic power comes from your third eye. And all of ours have been calcified with the fluoride and the pesticides and the chemicals and the toxins they spray, and the chemtrails and the aluminum in our teeth, and the mercury that's in our teeth and our mouths and all of that kind of stuff. It totally calcifies your pineal, so that you don't have any psychic ability or an ability to communicate with God or with the divine. And so I have a 5-page protocol. And it's the stuff I've used on myself over the years to open my third eye up and to get rid of my own calcification. And I've tried it out. I've been the guinea pig. I've done this stuff for years and years. And so I have this protocol, and I only give it to my clients. I never give it out like to the public. It's not available to the public. It's for my clients, but it's available for whoever is watching this video. Today. Yeah, you just have to, the rule is you have to contact me through my website. There's a contact page at spiritualgrowthjourneys.com. Yep. And then just say, I saw you on, you have to make sure you mention Yarra's show, her webinar, that you saw me on Yarra's webinar, and that you would like the third eye protocol. It's just called a third eye protocol, and I will send it to you.
Thank you so much for that. So I'm going to quickly thank all the listeners for joining us today. And we love hearing from you as well. Any comments you want to share, anything you want to share with Kimberly, please, you can email her, spiritualgrowthjourneys.com, or me, onyourdivinelight.com at gmail.com. And you can send it, I'll make sure that she gets it. And we just love feedback because we know that whatever we're bringing to you is supporting you and that you're receiving it, and that we just want to know that you're really, getting something from what we share here. And as you know, Kimberly has amazing things to share. And Kimberly, I want to thank you so much for your incredible perseverance and obvious love and connection to Yeshua, which, it refreshes my heart and everybody listening with the messages that you have brought through. There's so much more on her YouTube show and in her books. I call you the modern sacred oracle, bringing the words and the messages that are so needed right now to fuel us and to support us through these really challenging times as we move into higher hearts and consciousness. So I'm just so grateful for you being here.
Thank you for that. I'm very grateful for you and this work you're doing, having these webinars and having so many people on, your program to share all this information. Because one thing Yeshua told me is, he said, you are not going to save the world by yourself. He said, I know you like to do this Lone Ranger thing because I don't trust people. I don't trust people. And I always feel like, okay, it's my way, I'm going to do it my way and I'm going to help as, many people as I can. He's like, no. You're going to work, you're going to collaborate with all of your brothers and sisters, and you're all going to do this together as a team. We have to work as a team. He said, if you don't work with all of them as a team, then the world's going to go bye-bye. The only way we're going to ascend is we all have to come together and collaborate. And so that's why I'm always working with beautiful souls like Yarra here to do this work, because we have to help each other. We have to support each other. We have to love one another, and we have to raise each other up, and, and get together to help all of you, because it's the only way we're going to succeed.
Yes.
So,
yes.
Yeah.
We've had the help and we're sharing what we've learned. And so I just want to say that the divine human is rising, and we hold unlimited potential and gifts as we create our new earth realities. Thank you again, Kimberly, for your amazing courage, for stepping into owning your divine light. And as we raise our heart's frequency, know that we are nourished with the love of the universe. I am Yarra Atlantica Miller, and I will also known as Janet Miller, and I will see you all on the next episode. Thank you.